Yeah, it'll
So
be
let's
interesting.
move on to another attacker. And this was the news that came out recently. Denis Bouanga wants out of LAFC. I don't know about you, but when I first saw this news, I was shocked. I was like, whoa, like, where did this come from? This is wild. This is a guy who was the MLS Golden Boot winner. He had, I believe, 30 plus 36, 38 goals in all competitions. Like, this guy lit it up. One of the best years for a scorer in the MLS, especially across all competitions. And then out of nowhere, he wants out. So I ask you, like, what is kind of your reaction to the news? And then we'll break it down.
Well, it's tough to say what's going on behind the scenes, but my reaction is that LAFC should just pay him or give him what he wants or do whatever they can. If it's a question of, hey, I want this X amount or this to happen for me to stay, they need to make it happen. I mean, yes, there's been talk that people are like, oh, they should just, spend money on a striker. Um, but I mean, I'm sorry, but 36 games, 25 goals, 6 assists, 8 matches in the CONCACAF Champions League, 7 goals and 3 assists. That's the guy who has, I mean, you can't just let a guy like that walk unless he is saying, I don't want to play for this team and there's nothing you can do. So it's really an interesting one, and it's hard to say. Like I can't even imagine it. You would the easiest guess is money.
Yeah, supposedly he says that he wants to go back to Europe and test skills. But look, dude, like, first off, LAFC found a gem in you. They pulled him out of League Two in the second division of France, and he just so happened to lit it up. It was a risky bet even getting him, honestly. I mean, he was regarded well, like really a good player in League Two back then. But like even then, like it's League Two. Like we've got like Horton Jean who came from League One and he was not that very good. So like it's still a risky bet picking him up from that league. And at the end of the day, he's 29 years old. I don't know very many teams in Europe that most likely, if you're going to get a shot, it's going to be a lower level first division team. I think he will. He's not going to go back to a second division team. I think he proved himself pretty well this season. He's going to go back to probably the bottom of Ligue 1, and he's not going to get nowhere near the money he would get here in MLS as a DP. No one's going to pay him that. He might do pretty well, but one day they got to pay his transfer fee, which is going to be, I just looked on Transfer Market, it's $10 million. So unless he's going to Saudi Arabia where they don't give a shit and they're going to give him a high salary, that's his only option. I don't see any European team spending the money that he wants that he would get in LAFC. And on top of that, to me, this is clearly a money play because where did this come from? Like this came like out of nowhere. And like I said, you're older. He's 29. Like what are you going to do over there? Like realistically, like he's peaked. Why not stay in the league where you're going to perform well and be one of the best players in the league? Because honestly, outside of Messi, I would say Denis Bouanga is the best attacker in the league. Probably the best player in the league outside of Messi. He was incredible this season. His physicality, his speed, his finishing.
Yeah,
He was by
and you
far
can
one of the
argue
best
his
players.
worst is, and you can argue one of his worst games this season was against Inter Miami, and that was not really because of anything technical that he did wrong. It's just he kind of got in his own head and wanted to score himself rather than, pass the ball and get those easy assists, um,
I will
which
say
can
what's
easily be
weird
fixed.
is I will say what's weird is so he clearly wants more money, but it's like I don't know. I'm kind of back and forth on it because it's like, look, if you're LAFC, you don't want to let another player go like you did with Chicho Arango. That guy single handedly and Gareth Bale helped you win that Champions MLS Cup, and then luckily you're able to basically replace that production with Denny Bouanga. Do you really want to play that game again and get rid of another player that's giving you a ton of
Exactly, that's the
production?
thing. It's like
Do you want to play
why do this?
that
Why
game
go through
again?
this
You
shit
got lucky
again?
that he ended up working out. Do you want to go through that again? And look, there's a lot of
Doesn't make
talks
sense
that
to me.
Benzema might go there and all this thing. I think LAFC is going to be pretty drastically different. But if you're LAFC, one, you don't know if you're going to get anybody big in Europe, even if you do get quote unquote Benzema. Who's to say he's going to play any well? They got the goalkeeper. I can't pronounce his name, so I'm not going to try. That was one hell of a signing, I will say. That was a crazy sign. I can't believe they got him for so cheap. The French goalkeeper, former
Hugo
national team.
Lloris. Well, because he's
Yeah,
fucking
Hugo
he's been
Lloris.
garbage. That's why he got
But
he he hasn't
regardless, I'm
sniffed the
surprised they got
field since
him.
his shocker.
Well, I will say I'm surprised they got him on the amount like $300,000. Like that's wild that he's taking that money. I guess might as well go live in LA or whatever. But
Yeah,
look,
I'm sure
Carlos
it's
Vela is
worth
not
it.
the same Vela. Like you said, they essentially don't really have a striker. They've been like not really having great strikers. They've been relying a lot on this guy to create production. You don't want to get rid of
Yeah,
him.
so it's
So pay him
yeah.
whatever it is, figure it out. But then on the other side, I'm like, man, this guy signed a contract to this deal. Like, this is what you picked. This is what you chose. You got to live with it. Like, so I'm kind of back and forth on it, but it's like, dude, you want to go? So, like, first off, no one's going to get takey for that money. No one is. So I don't know. It's tough. I'm curious to see how this saga ends. I don't necessarily have a stance on it, but I do feel I get where Bouanga is coming from because, like, look, you're 29, you're not going to get paid a whole lot more. So this you're coming off an incredible season. Try to get as much money as you possibly can, and then if you're LAFC, if it's not a big deal, just do it. So I don't know. We'll see. What I am surprised is how vocal it is. Something we haven't seen in MLS in a while. Somebody like being super vocal about wanting to get. He hasn't said straight out that he wants to get paid more, but let's be real. This it's what
Yeah.
it is. Like this dude's not going to go. Like I said, no one's going to go to. If he goes to a European team, which I think he can play in Europe, no one's going to pay him the money he would make here. And at his age, you got to get one last big contract before you're no longer relevant. So we shall
Yeah.
see.